Hello and a very warm welcome to this News 9 special. I am your host Atishay Jain. So last Saturday, the All India Senior Selection Committee headed by Chetan Sharma announced the India squads for the T20I and Test series against Sri Lanka, which is going to commence from February 24th, which is the day after tomorrow. A few bold calls were made as the Indian team ushered in a new phase under head coach Rahul Dravid and captain Rohit Sharma. To talk more on the subject, I have my colleague Abhishek Paul alongside me, and also Nikhil Narayan joins us. So gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, Abhishek. What was your initial reaction when the squad was announced on last Saturday?
Some pretty interesting names. Some veterans are coming back, Ravindra Jadeja, and then there were quite a few debutants too, and that this transition phase, as we are calling it in the Indian team, it's really clear. Three veterans, Ajinkya Rahane, Cheteshwar Pujara, Riddhiman Saha, all of them got dropped. New players have come in. The batting order will be interesting to be. I mean, it will be a crucial point, interesting point to watch out. So overall, I mean, good mix and match.
Well, definitely, Nikhil, I remember me and you have spoken a lot about what is an ideal time when it comes to resting someone like Virat Kohli. So now for this series, for the T20I series, both Virat Kohli and Rishabh Pant, they have been rested. So how do you think this is going to help Virat Kohli get back to his normal self? I know he scored a magnificent 52 runs in the second T20I, but are we on the same page when I talk that Virat Kohli needed this break more than anyone else?
Absolutely. I'm of the firm belief that, big players, great players like Virat Kohli need to now pick and choose which series they play. There is no need for Virat Kohli to play against this Sri Lankan side. That has been my view for a while. Actually, there was no need for him to play against West Indies also, at least not in the ODI series. Having said that, I think, this break will do Virat Kohli a great deal of good. There's a lot going on, a lot has happened in Indian cricket in the last 6 to 7 months. He needs to just go back, spend time with his family, come back for his 100th test in Mohali with a fresh perspective. Rohit Sharma is backing him, his captain is behind him, the country is behind him. India needs Virat Kohli, the batsman, and I'm very happy that selectors have allowed him this break.
Well, definitely we are all waiting eagerly for Virat Kohli to complete his 100th test match in test career. So that is going to be one day which the entire country celebrates along with Virat Kohli. So now let's get into the two names who have returned to the T20I squad. One is Ravindra Jadeja, who makes a comeback after, I think, three months. The last he played was against New Zealand. Then he suffered a gruesome injury. But now he returns to the T20I squad. And also Sanju Samson. So I'm going to start with Ravindra Jadeja first. So Nikhil, coming to you. How do you think Ravindra Jadeja fits in this current Indian team now that we already have someone like Suryakumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, Venkatesh Iyer is doing exceedingly well in the all-rounders role. So do you think it will be easy for the Indian team management to find a place for someone like Ravindra Jadeja, who has been a key member from a very long time?
Absolutely, Adesha. See, Ravindra Jadeja walks into any team of any 11 in the world. Forget an Indian 11 in all three formats. He is one of the finest all-rounders in the world in T20 cricket, ODIs and in Test cricket. Talking about T20Is, for CSK, when they triumphed last season, 2021, he assumed the role of an aggressor, of a finisher. That was his new avatar for CSK. He's always been a very restrictive bowler in T20I cricket. And this new role of finisher makes him a complete all-rounder along with his fielding capabilities. So Ravindra Jadeja will walk into the Indian 11. He will only add to the list of all-rounders. And given that Rohit Sharma wants as many all-rounders in the Indian 11, I see Jadeja playing a crucial role there. Maybe at the expense of a Washington Sundar and a Deepak Hooda in the long run. But Jadeja is, a little more superior and talented than both of them.
Well, definitely, I think in the last 4 or 5 years, Ravindra Jadeja has evolved as one of those players who cannot be touched in any of the three formats of the game. So now coming to you, Abhishek. Also marking his return is Sanju Samson. A very strange career he has had for India so far. He has excelled in IPL and domestic circuit, but for some strange reason, the right-hander has struggled to translate the same performances into international career. Last edition, he scored over 400 runs with a good strike rate in the 14 matches he played for Rajasthan Royals. So now he is making a comeback. I'm sure he is going to be under pressure Two questions. First of all, how do you see his comeback, and which batting position do you think, if he gets an opportunity, is going to be best for Sanju Samson?
I mean, strange career, as you mentioned, is perhaps the apt word, to describe Sanju Samson's career. When he started, when he emerged in the IPL, he was much ahead of Rishabh Pant and Ishan Kishan, and today Rishabh Pant is almost a captaincy material. He's being groomed for captaincy. Ishan Kishan, he's the MVP in the IPL auction. And Sanju Samson, somehow he's the Rajasthan Royals captain, good, but he should have done really better. He can't make that excuse, that he did not get opportunities. So he got his opportunity, but somehow that consistency is missing. He's again getting a chance, because India are playing so many home series. I think he's being looked at as a backup option. He can bat in the top order. He opens for Rajasthan Royals. He can play in the middle too. He can play at number 3, 4. So it will be really crucial to see if he gets an opportunity, because I mean, last season we saw that Indian selectors were in the mood for inducting fresh talents, giving everybody chance. So Sanju Samson might fancy his chance too, but I think mostly he's being looked at just as a backup.
Well, definitely he is one of the backups for Ishan Kishan. Also, Nikhil, coming to you now more on Sanju Samson, he also has this unique talent. Just keeping in mind that the T20 World Cup is going to take place in Australia, those wickets which offer much bounce, more bounce and purchase to fast bowlers. And so Sanju Samson is someone, I think he has the technique to succeed in those kind of strips, especially the kind of his ability to, hit those pull shots, those drives on the up. So how do you see his comeback in the national side?
See, Sanju Samson is number 3 in the pecking order for Australia. There is Pant, there is Ishan Kishan, and then there is Sanju Samson. See, he may be more talented than the two names I mentioned before him. But the thing with Samson has been that he is not consistent enough. If he is not consistent, then after a special 100 or 50, 60 balls, there will be 2 or 3 scores between 0 and 10. And that has been in story for Rajasthan Royals for the last 2 or 3 seasons. And that is where the problem lies with Sanju Samson. Exceptionally talented and gifted, but not consistent enough to play for India regularly in the T20I setup. So I don't see him playing in the 11 unless there is an injury to a Surya, to a Shreyas or to a Virat Kohli. Otherwise, I think he'll be a reserve wicketkeeper for the Indian contingent.
Well, definitely he has fallen down in the pecking order when it comes to wicketkeeper batsmen in the country. Rishabh Pant is number 1, and now we are slowly seeing Ishan Kishan take that number 2 spot. So now, Abhishek, when the squad was announced, another thing which caught my attention was elevation of Jasprit Bumrah to the post of vice captain. Surely he is someone India is looking at in the long run. Maybe he can replace Rohit Sharma at least in one of the format as the captaincy. Do you also see the move like that?
Along with KL, Rahul and Rishabh Pant, he is definitely being groomed as a captaincy material, and he is already the leader of the bowling attack, right? So, and he is our number 1 bowler. I mean, statistically, he provides breakthroughs. He can play in. I recently talked with the former selector Ashok Malhotra, and he said that according to him, Bumrah is the only bowler currently who can play all 3 formats. So when you have a guy like Bumrah, mind you, he is one of the 3 guys who has got A+ contract. He is a top-notch player, top graded player officially. So I would not be surprised that if he becomes captain in one format at least. But generally we have seen the trend in India and of course in other countries too, that batters get the preference. So there Bumrah might fall short, but definitely, I mean, he's already a leader of the bowling attack, and he might become also.
And also recently Pat Cummins was named the Australia captain, and he performed brilliantly in the Ashes series.
Maybe India can take a cue from that.
Well, definitely. So now coming to you, Nikhil, Ishan Kishan, he had 3 matches, 3 opportunities. He didn't succeed in making the most of it. Now going into the Sri Lankan series, do you think the 15 crore or so man would be under pressure against a team like Sri Lanka?
The burden of sitting on 15 CR, is a lot. And I think he's slightly sort of under pressure, Ishan Kishan, because all the 3 innings, he got some runs, some 30s, but his strike rate was really poor. He was not timing the ball properly. He was not getting the boundaries in the power play. It was Rohit Sharma who was the aggressor. Actually, I will not open with Ishan Kishan if I play him in the 11 in the Sri Lanka series. It is time for India to give Ruturaj Gaikwad a chance with Rohit Sharma at the top of the order. And if you want to play Ishan Kishan, play him at 4. He's a floater. You can play him at 3, you can play him at 4, you can play him at 5. Mumbai Indians have done it with success in the past. So I would, use Ishan Kishan as a floater if I'm playing him in the 11. And I would give Ruturaj Gaikwad a consistent run in these 3 T20Is. It's high time India makes use of Gaikwad, before it's too late.
Well, definitely Gaikwad has been the man in form, but he is also waiting for his chance. So now, before I move on to the Test squad, one last question to you, Nikhil. Who do you see as a fit replacement for Virat Kohli at the number 3 position in the T20 against Sri Lanka?
That's an interesting question. I would promote actually Surya Kumar Yadav to the number 3 position. Just that, I know he's been a finisher for India, but he's also capable of producing those 80s and 90s or 50, 60 deliveries, which will completely take the match away from the opposition. He's done it for Mumbai Indians last 3 or 4 seasons.
He has even opened for Mumbai Indians. His most successful
Yes,
season came as an opener.
Absolutely. So I think Surya Kumar Yadav at number 3, the way he bats, his strike rate, it can be the difference between a 175 total and a 210, 220 total.
Well, definitely. So now it's definitely going to be an interesting series against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, even though they lost against Australia 4-1 in the T20 series, but they have a nice young team which can threaten India in their own backyard. But now let's move on to the Test squad, which made a lot of headlines. Now, Abhishek, the single most quote which caught my attention during the squad announcement when Chetan Sharma said Rohit Sharma is the number 1 cricketer in the country. Do you echo his statement?
I mean, see, if somebody is an all-format captain, officially, you don't need to spell it out his position in the Indian cricketing circles. But to say, suddenly that out of nowhere that he's the number 1 cricketer in the country, it's basically indirectly saying Kohli may be number 2 now. So, I mean, there was no need for it, right? I mean, he could have said he's our all-format captain, he's our most senior player. I mean, number 1, number 2, all this ranking when it comes, things, suddenly people start looking over their shoulder. So, there was no need for it.
Well, Nikhil, do you also feel that there was no need for Chetan Sharma to say that Rohit Sharma is the number 1 cricketer in the country?
So I don't know the politics behind it, but if you see pure stats, Rohit Sharma is by far India's finest batsman in the world today. In fact, he's amongst the finest batsmen in international cricket as of today. His Test career has transformed since he opened first against South Africa at Vizag in 2019. In ODI cricket, he is probably the best batsman in the world right now. His T20I record transformed after 2015. He's led Mumbai Indians to 5 IPL titles. He's the captain across formats of the Indian cricket team. I think Rohit Sharma is not only the number 1 cricketer in India right now, I think he's the number 1 cricketer in the world right now.
Well, definitely. Now let's switch our focus to, one of the decisions which we all saw it coming from a very long time. The selectors finally dropped the axe on the 2 most experienced Test cricketers in the country, Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane. So, Abhishek, I'll come to you on this first. It was coming from a very long time. The duo endured a horrific last year with the bat in hand. And also now they are playing the Ranji Trophy. Ajinkya Rahane even scored a century and Cheteshwar Pujara 92 odd runs. Yeah. But now, do you think how difficult it is going to be for them to make a comeback into the national setup?
It's going to be very difficult. Guys like Hanuma Vihari, Shreyas Iyer, they were itching for their opportunity, and even in the South Africa tour, the buzz was that maybe drop Rahane and induct in Hanuma Vihari. I mean, Hanuma Vihari has done everything right possible to deserve a place in the 11. He has that number 6 role. He has performed brilliantly in that, and when you don't perform, you'll be kept out. And same thing with Rahane and Pujara. And I think it's going to be tough. Though Chetan Sharma, the chief selector, said that they have been only dropped for the two test matches against Sri Lanka, but I don't know. I mean, at home, I'm sure India must try the younger lot. You know, mind you, Riddhiman Saha has also been dropped.
Then there is Ishant Sharma.
Ishant Sharma. I mean, clearly the road ahead is about transition. You know, about players. You know, who can give you at least 4 to 5 more years. So, I think it's going to be tough for both of them.
So okay, Nikhil. Now I want you to picture this. It's since March 2013, the game in which Ajinkya Rahane made his debut. It is going to be the first time in 8 years or 9 years when Team India will be without either Cheteshwar Pujara or Ajinkya Rahane in a test match. The duo have together scored more than 11,500 runs, over 100 tests, and then 30 centuries combined. So how difficult it is going to be to find an apt replacement for someone like Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3 and Ajinkya Rahane at number 5?
Extremely difficult, Atishay. See, both of them were class players. One of the finest in India's test cricket history. Pujara is one of the finest number 3s in the world. And Rahane, you know, a brilliant number 5 batsman. Yes, both of them were terribly out of form after 2020, averaging in the 20s. And they deserve to be, you know, ousted from the 11. I don't think they will make a comeback now unless something, you know, the new crop fails miserably. I think it is the end of the road for Rahane, Pujara, Ishant Sharma, and also Riddhiman Saha. If you ask me who should replace them, I think it's a 3-way race for 2 positions. Shubman Gill, Hanuma Vihari, and Shreyas Iyer. Now, personally, who I would want to see, I want to see Shubman Gill at 3 and Shreyas Iyer at 5. My reasons are simple. Cheteshwar Pujara, you know, especially even at the peak of his career, you know, there were complaints about his scoring rate in India. On placid tracks, he could not get a move on. And Virat Kohli, Ravi Shastri, you know, there were problems, and he was told to up the ante. Now, if you replace, you know, someone like a Pujara with a Vihari at number 3, you know, there'll be a similar problem will come. If you see Vihari's strike rate, it's not his forte. It's around 48 in first-class cricket. Therefore, I would want someone like a Shubman Gill to come at 3, who can score big runs, but who also has a high scoring rate of around 70 in first-class cricket. So I think also it gives him more time to score the big runs and dominate spinners. He's an excellent player of spin bowling because of his height. He uses reach. His, you know, his front foot defense is absolutely tremendous against spinners. So he can dominate spinners, give him time to play the big knock. So Shubman Gill at 3, assuming we have Virat Kohli at 4, at 5, I don't see any reason for you to drop Shreyas Iyer after his debut 100 in Kanpur against New Zealand. Which means, where does Hanuma Vihari play? If India plays 6 batsmen, then of course number 6 is Vihari. Maybe outside overseas in Sena countries, it is Vihari. But in India, I will not play Vihari, nothing against him. But see, I will play players who can single-handedly win you matches. Vihari can't single-handedly win you a match. A Gill can, a Shreyas Iyer can. So that is my reasoning.
Well, definitely Shubman Gill and Shreyas Iyer have both proved their class in domestic cricket and have shown over the years that they can win matches on their own terms by themselves on so many different occasions. Now, before I wrap up, Abhishek, I also want to talk about the 3 new names that have been included in the test squad. One is Saurabh Kumar, then other KS Bharat and Priyank Panchal. What can you tell us about the 3 players? And also, this also sheds light on that BCCI and the selectors are not, you know, overshadowing the performances of the players in domestic cricket. Not so the performances in the domestic cricket also matter, and it's not just about performing well in the IPL.
Right, I mean, all 3 of them, you know, they are domestic cricket veterans. All 3 of them have been traveling with the Indian team in the recent past. Priyank Panchal, Gujarat batsman, top order batsman. He was called in South Africa as a replacement for Rohit Sharma as a backup, as a third opener. Great runs in over 7,000 runs. You can see that on the screen. Again, KS Bharat, he is being groomed as that backup wicket keeper. Definitely, he is going to take Riddhiman Saha's place with Rishabh Pant being the number 1 wicket keeper. And the other guy is Saurav, the left arm spinner from UP. He has also been traveling with the Indian team. He has got close to 200 wickets in first class. So it's a great sign that you just, I mean, if you don't play the IPL also, if you're not a big name in the IPL, you can still make it to the Indian team.
Well, definitely, this was one of the biggest takeaways which I had from the squad announcement. So, Nikhil, my last question to you. Rohit Sharma is still undefeated as the captain since the time he has been given full-time captaincy limited overs cricket. So now, will the streak continue once the Sri Lankan series come to an end? What is your opinion?
I mean, if you don't beat this Sri Lankan team 3-0 and 2-0, I mean, I think Rohit Sharma will, he won't be able to, he won't be happy with himself. I mean, I'm mincing my words. 3-0 and 2-0, nothing less.
Well, definitely, there you have it. Nikhil says it's going to be a big disappointment for India and Rohit Sharma if they fail to defeat Sri Lanka 3-0 and 2-0 in the Test series. Well, as far as I can say, I think it's going to be a fantastic series. Sri Lanka is a good team, not a great one, but the cricket is going to be of top notch. The game starts day after tomorrow. The series starts with 3-match T20I series, and then we have 2-match Test series. So do join us on Thursday. Our build-up will continue. If you want to follow more on cricket and sports around the world, you can log into News 9 Live. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.